Hi friends, today, we are sharing a story about two guys who start as enemies but slowly, unexpectedly, become lovers. Get ready for a roller coaster of emotions: anger, tension, and, eventually, love. They put them in the same safe house on purpose. Gemini knew it the moment he saw him standing by the window, tall, controlled, shoulders rigid like the world had carved rules into his spine. City lights sliced Fourth's profile into sharp lines, all restraint and quiet judgment. Fourth, the man Gemini had sworn he would never forgive. "You've got to be kidding me," Gemini muttered, letting his bag hit the floor. Fourth didn't turn. "I asked for anyone else." "You asked." Gemini laughed, bitter and raw. "Last time you made a choice, 3 people lost their jobs, and I lost everything." That made Fourth face him. His eyes were dark, unreadable, flicking over Gemini like he was cataloging damage he'd already caused. "You leaked classified information. I exposed the truth. You broke protocol. You protected corruption." Silence stretched between them, tight, volatile, alive with years of resentment and something far more dangerous. The agency called it operational necessity. Gemini called it cruelty. One safe house, one bathroom, one exit. Hatred was safer than trust. Fourth had learned that long ago. "Rules," Fourth said coolly. "We stay out of each other's way. We don't dig up the past. And if things go wrong, we still protect each other." Gemini stepped closer, deliberately invading his space. "And when this is over," Fourth's jaw tightened, "we go back to pretending the other doesn't exist." Neither of them believed that. The first night passed without sleep. Gemini lay awake on the couch, hyper-aware of Fourth behind the bedroom door. He hated how memories surfaced uninvited: Fourth's steady grip during training, the way his voice used to ground Gemini when panic crept in. He hated that he missed it. Days became tense routines, surveillance shifts, shared meals eaten in silence. Arguments sparked over strategy, over morals, over everything they never said out loud. "You don't get to decide what's right for everyone," Fourth snapped when Gemini rerouted a contact. "And you don't get to hide behind rules while people get hurt," Gemini shot back. They circled each other constantly, repelled, yet impossibly drawn back together. The danger came without warning. A breach, footsteps, glass shattering. Fourth was hit, not fatal, but enough. Gemini didn't hesitate. He was already there, hands pressing against Fourth's side, voice urgent and shaking. "Stay with me. Don't pass out." "I'm fine," Fourth said through clenched teeth, though his fingers twisted into Gemini's sleeve like he needed the anchor. They barricaded themselves in the bathroom. Gemini cleaned the wound with careful hands, gentler than he'd ever meant to be. "You didn't have to do this," Fourth said quietly. "Yes," Gemini replied, voice low. "I did." Something cracked then. Not all at once, but enough. Later, in the dark, Fourth broke the silence. "I didn't betray you." Gemini went still. "You chose the agency. I chose survival," Fourth said. "And I've hated myself for it every day since." The confession landed heavy between them. Gemini felt his anger falter, reshaping into something painful and fragile: understanding. "I thought hating you would be easier," Fourth continued. "If I made you the villain, I didn't have to admit I was scared to stand beside you." Gemini looked at him differently then, not as an enemy, not as the man who ruined his life, but as someone who had been just as trapped. The longing crept in quietly. A shared glance held too long. Fingers brushing while passing a weapon. Silence that felt intimate instead of hostile. They denied it, fought it, let it smolder, until the final mission forced a choice. When the moment came, evidence in hand, consequences inevitable, Fourth didn't hesitate. He backed Gemini, broke protocol, burned bridges, chose him. Afterward, adrenaline still humming, Gemini let out a breathless laugh. "You realize you just destroyed your career." "I know," Fourth said, stepping closer. "And you're okay with that?" For the first time, Fourth said softly, "Yes." The hatred didn't disappear. It transformed into something fierce, protective, and terrifyingly tender. When Fourth kissed him, it wasn't rushed. It was cautious, earned, like two men stepping into something honest after years of hiding behind anger. They hadn't stopped being enemies overnight. But sometimes, when hatred runs out of places to hide, love is what's left behind. Hi friends, today, we are sharing a story about two guys who start as enemies but slowly, unexpectedly, become lovers. Get ready for a roller coaster of emotions: anger, tension, and, eventually, love.